Hey everyone, Desmondsnow Dog Training, Pacific Northwest Dog Trainer. If you have a dog you need it trained, you can contact me by email at desmondsnow@gmail.com, or you can contact me by phone at 360-991-4392. Anyways, I just wanted to make maybe a quick video. I'm not really too sure how long this is going to go on for, but basically I just wanted to talk about unearned affection with dogs. And what that means is basically petting a dog, using a high-pitched tone with the dog, and by high pitch or a pleasant tone with the dog, so saying something like good boy, or something like that, that's pleasant. Or if you go really high-pitched, that's also just anything that's positive for a dog. There's a lot of different things that can be used as positive reinforcement for a dog. Toys, games, thresholds. What a threshold is like going through a door, or any like it's visual stimulation for the dog. So basically, if they have like a blocked off line of vision, right? So like a doorway, and then they walk out and their eyes are opened, basically, and they can see a lot of new things, that's positive for a dog. So that's why going through a door and making a dog sit before going through a door is really important. And making your dog work for affection is really important of any kind. So petting or good boys or anything like that, it's all really important that you don't give any of that shit away for free, because you're gonna have a fucked up dog at that point. Or maybe not a fucked up dog, but you're gonna have, sorry about that, a little interruption. But basically, where was I? Basically any kind of unearned affection for your dog is really not good. So if you're petting your dog too much or anything like that, it can cause you to have a plethora of problems with your dog. Not listening is one of them. Like just being lazy in general can be a thing, and you don't really want a lazy dog, I mean, unless you do. But if you want a lazy dog, then why don't you have like a cat or a goldfish or something like that? If you have a dog, you should have a dog because you want it to work for you, right? Because all dogs enjoy having a job, basically. And you know, toys and games and stuff like that, a dog should have access to certain toys, right? Like I, for example, have this right here. This is the kind of toy that I would use with my dog. If you're using plushies, that's terrible. Don't give your dogs plushies. They can eat the cloth on those plushies and like the cotton in it, and if they swallow it, that can make your dog very sick and possibly kill them. So you don't want to give your dogs plushies or anything like that. And also the types of games you should be playing with your dog should be basically the games where you always win, right? Just because a dog winning a game versus you, right? Like if you're playing tug of war or chase, right? Those types of games, those aren't good games to play with your dog. And the reason, like the chase game is a game where you would play it with your dog, but you wouldn't play it in the way that's typically shown, right? With like other dog trainers or like positive reinforcement trainers like Zach George and stuff like that. The chase game, you have a leash on the dog, and that game is meant to teach the dog to come to heel with you, right? Like, and ultimately you still end up in control at the end of the game. It's not your dog is off leash and you're chasing the dog around, because if you can't catch the dog, which you can't most of the time depending on the breed, right? They now understand that they can just leave at any point and you can't catch them, right? And that's not a game that you want to play with your dog. You don't want your dog to think that they can get anything on their own. They need to think that they can only get things from you, right? So that's how you get a dog well trained and well behaved and to listen in any situation, is basically by cutting out unearned affection. And the way that I like to describe it is petting your dog is like crack for the dog, right? It's like a drug. When you pet them, they like it a lot. It's like a pleasant, positive experience for them to do it, right? So when you pet the dog too much, they become dependent on you for that affection. That can cause separation anxiety and things like that. However, and that's not, separation anxiety is a bitch. There's not one person on this planet, I can pretty much guarantee, that likes it when their dog is whining and barking when they leave. It's just fucking obnoxious, you know? And that's kind of the bottom line, you know, is like, you don't want that. And the way that you can exercise that behavior, and by exercise I mean like evict it, right? Not exercise like running. But the way that you can get that behavior out of your dog is by not giving your dog too much affection. They don't give each other affection out in the wild. If they're, you know, like if it were, you know, a pack of dogs with no humans around, there would be no affection being given. They don't give each other hugs and kisses in the wild. They don't, right? On the contrary, they're actually more inclined to bully each other bite each other, headbutt each other, jump on top of each other and dominate each other all the time. That's pretty much what they do most of the time, because that's the kind of animal they are. They're a subspecies of the wolf, right? And there is no room for like fun and games out in the wilderness. We humans, if you go back to like tribal days, I'm pretty sure that hugs and kisses were pretty sparse, way back in those days, right? Just because you don't have time to be weak like that. And that's kind of how dogs see it. They see it like weakness when you're giving a dog too much affection, right? And they know that they can dominate you by doing certain things, right? And that's the thing, is dominance is hardwired into them. They are hardwired to be dominating, right? And it doesn't matter what kind of dog you have or whether you think it's submissive or not, unless your dog is completely trained in obedience, right? And understands these commands real well and has been in training for a while, right? Because training is the lifetime of the dog, then most likely they are dominating you in some way that you don't realize, right? And that's the thing, is unearned affection can be, it's one of the worst things for your dog. It's like top 3, right? And the thing is like, you should make the dog work for everything, because dogs in the wild have to work for everything. They work for water, they work to sleep, they work to eat, they work for everything, right? And it should be like that when they're living with you as their owner, right? That's the thing, is that petting is good and affection is good. It tells the dog that it's doing something right? But that's the thing, is that if you're giving your dog affection when it is doing whatever, right, then you're telling the dog that what it's doing is good all the time, right? So even if it's being bad, it's still getting pet. That's bad. You should never console a dog. If a dog is whining and yapping and barking, I know it's cute, and I know that we humanize the dog when we see that. I do it to my dog, but I know that I'm doing it so he doesn't get any affection when he's whining. Sometimes he goes in the kennel and he's a fucking smart dog, and he has been, he's conditioned to think that he can whine and get out of doing certain shit, right? And it's kind of like instinctual for him to do so, right? He used to have really bad separation anxiety before I got it out of him. Now I can get up and leave the room and come back in whenever I want, and it's radio silence. He doesn't fucking say anything, because he knows that he's not going to get me back in the room by whining. It doesn't matter what he does. You know what I mean? And that's the thing, is what's best for the dog, and the dog has no fucking idea what's best for it. And that's another thing, is that you might say, well, if that's how they are in the wild, then why do we even control them? And the thing is these dogs exist, and they exist in a human world. You know what I mean? And they are a man's best friend, right? And it is good that we are in control of them, because then they're safe when we're with them. You know what I mean? But the thing is it's not positive for them, because like just to pet them too much is not a good idea, right? And you will cause a lot of problems with your dog by petting them too much. Right, and especially petting them when they're being bad. That's why you have to teach the dog no. You have to set boundaries for the dog. You shouldn't let your dog up on furniture. You shouldn't let your dog put its paws on you or put its head on you. That's all dominance. And I know it's cute, and to us as a human, when we have like a baby child, like an infant, and it's like, on top of us or putting its head on us, or like we give each other affection with hugs and stuff like that. Dogs don't do that. That's all dominance for them. I'm dominating you right now when they do that, right? And they're smart, and they know that they can get away with certain things like that. So that's the thing, is you really want to just make sure that you aren't giving your dog too much affection, and tell the dog no, set boundaries. It's healthy for the dog. They like it that way, and it's very clear rules, and they aren't going to get into any trouble, right? And they'll listen to you because they respect you. Respect is the closest thing to love in the dog world. They don't feel love. It's a complex human emotion, right? When we see someone that we love, we feel butterflies in our stomach, all that shit. Dogs don't have that shit. Their brain does not have room for it. Their brain's about the size of a lemon. If it's a bigger dog, it's about the size of a lemon. They have enough room in there for like instincts, and that's about it, right? And like to be trained to do certain things, right? And that's the thing, is they don't really feel love. They don't feel love like we do. The closest thing they have to love is respect. That's about it. So that's my PSA on unearned affection. Again, I'm Desmond Snow, Pacific Northwest dog trainer. If you have a dog you need to train, doesn't matter the breed, the size, the age, I can train it, and I can train it good. And if you don't want to get it trained by me, train it yourself. It'll be good for the dog, and listen to these videos. They'll teach you a lot about dogs that just isn't known, right? I've done my research, years of it, right? So, you know, if you don't have the time to do the research, you can watch these videos and you can learn a lot. So that's my PSA. Like I said, you can contact me at desmondsnow@gmail.com or call me or text me at 360-991-4392 and we can set up a consultation. It'll be $50. And if you want to send your dog here for a board and train, then that would be great. All the hard work will be out of the way. They'll know sit, down, whoa, here, kennel, all that stuff. They'll know everything, right? And then you just have to work with the dog and step in afterwards, and it'll be smooth sailing from there on out because I'll have done all the hard work for you. So that's it. That's all I have to say. I'll see you guys in the next one. You guys have a good day. And if you're in the Pacific Northwest, stay safe. There's fires out there, crazy shit. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.